Okay, we're Group 8. I have Ralph Humiston, Chris Clenti, Evie Clapp, and Haley Advocate, and we're going to present to you our understanding of electronic device policy in the college classroom. And so the purpose of our presentation is to inform decisions on classroom policy at colleges by Dickinson College professors on electronic devices, and we'll do that through peer-reviewed articles, student surveys, faculty interviews, studying other college policies, and finally the iPad initiative, and then we'll finish up with offering some recommendations and allow some time for questions.
All right, so now we'll talk about the peer-reviewed articles. We think it's important to note that these articles were very beneficial to our study because it used actual test scores instead of student surveying. So the benefits of this were ease of access to information, as well as the ability to efficiently take notes. With these benefits, there are obviously several drawbacks. So the drawbacks that we noted that were the most important was the lack of conceptual understanding, meaning when a student types versus uses handwriting, or should I say, it's easier for your brain to pick up and memorize something if you handwrite it versus if you type it out. So that's a big drawback. And then when someone uses a computer, it's easy to get off topic and multitask. So we see that multitasking negatively affects comprehension and increases distraction for students. So that's obviously a big drawback. And now we'll talk about student surveys.
Next, we did student surveys, which is where we went around to Dickinson College and we interviewed 146 students on how they felt about different policies and different things about with laptop use in the classroom. As you can see, based on our graph, 61% of students said that they feel distracted less than 5 minutes or less in a classroom period, and a total of 6% of students said they feel distracted over 21 minutes in the classroom. This is really important to note because, first of all, I would like to point out that it is the students themselves gave the answer, so therefore, because it's self-reported, there is room for fluctuation. And on top of that, a total of 6%, and even something like 15%, 11 to 25 minutes, and even 19, kind of anything here is really, really important to note and be aware of the fact that students are getting very distracted due to technology in the classroom. And next, we're going to talk about faculty interviews.
Okay, for this part of our project, we interviewed 52 Dickinson College faculty members, and overall, they decided that there is no actual clear policy that all Dickinson College faculty members abide by, so they aren't unified in their approach, but they aren't inflexible or stagnant in maintaining their current policy either. A lot of the professors noted in their interviews that they are willing to adapt new policies as new forms of technology that they see can fit into their classroom. They would be willing to use those.
Next, we'll talk about the college policy review. Out of 37 colleges, we reviewed policy from 26 different liberal arts colleges. 3 colleges required students to use laptops. This is, for instance, Dartmouth said that every student that comes to their college needs to have a laptop in the classroom. It was not based on teacher discretion. This is a universal policy throughout the school. On top of that, 9 colleges encourage students to have them, similar to Dickinson's teacher autonomy. This was a policy in which it wasn't required, but it was recommended in order to advance your learning capacity. And then 14 colleges, I'm sorry, I misspoke. Dickinson is actually part of these next 14 colleges that allows professors to create their own policies and see fit how they want to incorporate technology in their classroom. In addition to this, we covered the iPad initiative, which was done here at Dickinson. This is different than anything else because this was a program in which 7 faculty members were told that they were going to use tablets as a uniform a uniform technology within the classroom, and they were allowed to then develop their curriculum around this instead of just how we use technology right now as additional use. This was part of their curriculum. On top of this, as Dickinson, a sustainable school, wanted to try to eliminate paper use in the classroom, and by doing this, having a uniform iPad initiative allowed for people to not have to print things out. Everything was right there on a tablet. Benefits that we saw was accessibility to outside information. This is seen through the ability to draw from, I guess, outside information and to enhance their ability in the classroom, along with efficiency, which was because of this ability, instead of having to flip through notes, everything was right there and that you could pull it up as a uniform class. In addition to this, collaboration and group work was seen because you could, the collaboration was because in group work, everything was right there and you could use it and see it within the cloud. And then the drawbacks were Wi-Fi accountability. If they're using the technology this way and they're using cloud in the classroom, if it drops out, sometimes it's not always consistent, and therefore you were left with a tablet that was virtually useless for all of these benefits that were seen. And on top of that, distraction, which is present throughout all of the research, was another additional drawback.
And lastly, we have a couple recommendations for you all today. The first recommendation is to definitely do more research. We really recommend researching more peer-reviewed articles due to the fact that we only got the chance to look at around 15. We really found those to be the most beneficial, considering the fact that they really touched upon a wide variety of research. And as beneficial as our research at Dickinson was, we found that the articles really touched upon many key issues and facts that are worth reading and worth your time. Secondly, we decided that we felt as though for now to continue the policy with professors in the classroom and told them to use their discretion. We think that because most liberal arts schools and that, like us are doing that as well, we think that that's a very good policy to have. However, there is room for change depending on your classroom, and that's something that we think is important to note. For instance, if you're in an art class and you're doing art, there's no reason for computers to be out versus a note-taking intensive law class. You might want to take notes in that law class, so that could be beneficial. Just definitely know your classroom. And lastly, definitely consider the benefits of pen to note paper taking notes. It's really beneficial as well, so definitely keep that in mind when making your policies. Thank you. Does anyone have any questions?